Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My name is Kim and today we're going to be creating a business card together. I'm going to be making this tutorial very easy. I'm not going to go over certain aspects like specializations, how to create a document, what bleed is, but I will be going over how to create a business card, how to make sure it's appropriate for print, and just the general guides on how to get started with InDesign. InDesign can be a little bit overwhelming, as I mentioned in other videos, but it's quite simple once you get used to it. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go over how to create a new document in Bleed, but I will put the links in my description. I have made videos about this to help you understand a little bit more how to do it. So that's that. Today I'll be using libraries as well. I've already created this design in the past, so I'm going to use it to show you a little bit how to make it. It's fairly simple. It will not take too long. The longest part will be for you to come up with a specific design that you want. So yeah, that's it. So let's get started. So as you see, I already have my new document up. I'm just going to use the standard sizes for a business card, which is 2 inches by 3.5 inches. In this situation, my business card is portrait and not landscape, so I'm going to keep it on portrait. I'm going to set up my bleed immediately at 0.125. Since it's all locked, it's going to go the same everywhere. And since this is a business card, my margins are going to be 0.125 as well. So why I'm doing this is to just create that security margin to make sure that I'm not going to put any text outside of that, because when printers cut business cards, it's usually in 250, 500 or 1,000 prints. So they have to pack them together. So when the cutter goes down, sometimes it can slightly be off from that bleed. So we're going to go ahead and remove facing pages and just press create. So there you have it. I have my first business card. I'm going to go up here and open my pages. I'm automatically going to create the back for this business card. So front, back in my pages. I won't really need this part much, but I'm just showing you so you know. There's always two sides to business cards. If you only want one, you just put one artboard. I don't think I have to explain myself any further from this. So the design of the business card is completely up to you. In this situation, I'll show you my business card and how I did mine. And along ways, I'll just tell you a little bit of information so you don't get caught in certain mistakes. So I'm going to go to my CC libraries because I've already made a library for this, and it's called Business Card Tutorial. So as you can see, I'm just going to group by type. So I use libraries a lot. It helps me put my colors, it helps me put my character styles, and it helps me put my graphics all in one place. So if I want to work on different platforms, I can just transfer everything in those libraries. So let's get started. So my design was, I wanted a colored background. Obviously, I want my whole card to be this color. So I'm going to make sure that this box, which is right here, it's a rectangle tool, or M, it's going to be covering everything all the way to my bleed line, which is this red line right here. All right, so there you have it. Next, I want my logo to be on the top of my business card. So I'm just going to drag and drop my logo. Sorry. And center it right here. Up here, just a quick note, my settings are in advance, so if you want to follow along, it's better to put this in advance. Now I want my logo to be aligned to the center of my artboard. So up here, you're going to see all these alignment options and this here. I don't want it to be aligned to a selection. I want it to be aligned to page. And then I'm going to apply horizontal centers. It's already centered. Another trick is when you're moving around, you're going to see this pink guide. If you don't have your pink guide, it's in your view, grids and guides, and I'm pretty sure it's smart guides. So just make sure that's checked, or you press Ctrl U. So moving on, I want to add my information about what I do, which is brand identity and consultations. So I'm just going to add this graphics that I've made prior in the past. I want it to be a little bit smaller and to follow the size of my logo. So once again, I'm using the guidelines to make sure that it's aligned properly. Now, you can see that it seems pixelated, right? You're probably telling yourself, well, that's not going to be nice. InDesign, when you put images in, it's automatically going to put that performance at a view setting. So it's going to put it at a fast or typical display. So this helps lower the amount of usage it does on your computer, so it doesn't go crazy. So to show you what it looks like, I'm just going to do high quality display. And here as well, I'm going to do high quality display. But if I turn on my preview mode, what do you see down here? Do you see that all of my text is cut out of this box? There's a reason for that. So I resized my box, but my design didn't resize with it. So when you mouse over images, you see there's a circle in the middle. When you mouse over it and you see the hand, click on it, you're automatically selecting the image. So it's not the box that you're going to be selecting, it's the image inside the box. So I want this to resize proportionally to the new box that I made. So I'm going to click, quick tip. You see how around it, it's now become brown? That means you selected the picture. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do fill frame proportionally. And there you have it. Now it's all resized to the proper size. This part is done for me. So the top of my business card is going to look like this. This is what I'm going to do with it. So now I'm just going to go, oops, I did it on the wrong one. Oh well. Here's a little trick. If you do this, just click on one, drag it to the side of two, and you just change the order of everything. So now we're going to go do the back. So you're probably wondering why the back of my InDesign is gray like this and you don't see any of the bleed lines. That's because I switch preview modes. Right now, if you look here, I'm just going to click on it. So my preview, I'm on the preview. I'm not on like bleed mode. So I'm just going to press W again and it's going to bring me right back. So you can do this to trim everything off by pressing W. So let's go back to this one. I'm going to go back in my libraries. Now this part is fairly simple. I'm going to drag this visual. I'm going to put it here. Same process as before. I'm going to select it. I'm going to align it. Horizontal centers. Now it's centered. I want it to be a high quality display performance. Good. Now, usually on the back of a business card is where you can add some information about who you are. This is going to be for educational purposes, so I'm not going to put any information. But this is where we would enter the text. So I want it to be written Jane Doe, graphic designer. That's the information that I want. So this isn't the font that I use for my business, right? It's not it at all. So what you're going to do is select or highlight, go in your character styles, and just click on your new character style. These are in your libraries. If you do not have a library, you can just go the old-fashioned way in your search bar and go pick up the font that you want. It's really not that complicated. There are different ways to work. You just kind of have to find the way that works for you. For me personally, I like to have different hierarchies in my text, which is important. The graphic designer aspect is not the most important part, but my name is. So I'm going to put that at 12, and this is at 9. I will not be using light though. I'm just going to use regular. So the reason behind why you don't use light when you're making business card is that business cards have a very specific height to the fonts that you're using, so you don't want it to be below 9 usually. It's really important to keep that in mind when you're doing these things, because that type of print can be easily lost. And when your colors are inverted, don't ever use a light in your font, because then it's going to be impossible to read. So, and always keep it at 11 points. So yeah, just a tip. So I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, and I want this to have the same color as my background in the back. So I'm just gonna go pick my color. If you do not have a library and you want to change the colors, just highlight, go up here, and change the color. It's that simple. So I have this, I have my name. I really want it to be perfectly centered. Excuse me, I just muted myself because I had to cough. Another thing that I want to add is a phone number and an email. So this is going to be the phone number, and this is going to be email at somewhere dot. Again, I want the same fonts to be used. So instead of going into libraries and going into my font search bar, I'm actually going to just use the eyedropper tool. So I'm going to select everything. For those wondering how I highlight everything in one shot, I usually just put the text, I click it on the text and I do Control A, which selects all the text in that text box. And I'm going to put it the same size as graphic designer. So we're encountering a problem where the email is by far too big. So I'm going to try and cheat it a little bit. Yeah. I'm going to change the tracking because my tracking is really high. It's a personal preference. Please don't come at me. This is how I appreciate my work. But there you have it. So this is perfectly fine. Again, it's very small. Business cards tend to have that information like that. So just keep in mind, never really go under 8. 8 is very small. So we filled out the business card. The information is all there. I'm gonna press W. I'm very happy with this information. It makes me happy. Okay, so now we want to export. We want this to be print ready. So you're gonna go up to File, Export, wherever you want it to be honest with you. I'm just going to put it in my downloads. So here we are. This is the pop-up that's going to show up for you. as a rule of thumb, if you're printing with a printer, again, I'm going to mention this, ask your printer what he wants. But usually if you do press quality, everything should be in order to be print ready. So we're going to go in Adobe PDF preset, we're going to use press quality, then we're going to go in marks and bleeds, we're going to check crop marks, and then use document bleed settings. So what this does is it's going to make the crop marks, but it's going to align them to your bleed. So when your printer gets the design, he'll know exactly where he needs to cut. So we're going to do export, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Just give me a second, I'll open it. So there you have it. So once you export it, you can see that you have these 4 lines on the outside. These are your crop marks. This tells your printer, hey, this is where I need you to cut. So when we talk about bleed and I want the color to be all the way to the edge, this is what I mean. That purple burgundy is going to be all the way to the edge of my card. And you don't want them to cut off any unnecessary information, so that's why we use the margin to put that safety area. Now, please keep in mind this disclaimer here. This doesn't necessarily work for specializations like foil or spot UV or things like this. If you would like to know more about that, you can leave a comment and I'll make another video. But those type of designs, I usually create them in Illustrator simply because the process is easier. This is a very basic business card, so I did it in InDesign, but there are certain times where I prefer to choose one software over the other. InDesign does create outlines, but it's very, very new. Not really new, but it's just not as efficient as to create outline in Illustrator. So this is for very basic designs. It might work for you, it might not, but this is how I go about creating business cards. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment. Make sure to like this video and click the bell or subscribe. I'm always here to answer any questions. I'm even willing to make a video for you if you need an explanation, and I'll publish it. I enjoy what I do, and it would be my pleasure to help anyone out with the questions that they have. So thank you for listening. If you would like the files, it's something that I've thought about doing, template files. If you would like those types, please let me know again in the comments, and I'll package them and put them on a server where they can be downloaded for free. So thank you for watching. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.